It's no secret that the technology landscape is changing under our very feet, and one of the big pieces of that change is AI. And there's specifically a tool called Moises that a lot of musicians are using to help with their musical and production process. We've integrated Studio Pro version 8.1 directly with Moises. So if you've used Moises in the past or you've wanted to give it a try, you can now do that directly within Studio Pro. Let me show you how that works. Two things to note about Moises. First of all, the AI is trained on fully licensed material. And secondly, they don't train off of material submitted by users. Installation can be done directly from the browser. Just click on the Home tab and you'll see now an option for Moises. Let's install that now. This window pops up and I just click Install Items, and there we go. We can see that the Moises extension is now installed. Now, as you probably guessed, Moises has a free tier and a couple of paid tiers. As a Fender Studio Pro user, first of all, you get a 14-day free trial into one of their paid tiers, but you also get more credits per month than you would just as a free tier Moises subscriber. So just a great deal all around to let you really put it through its paces and see how it works for you. Once it's installed, you'll now see this new tab in your browser. Click on that, and you can see the 3 tools that Moises brings directly into Studio Pro. Let's talk about separate stems first. There are a lot of situations where you might want to separate the stems from a pre-existing stereo track. Here's one. My band, we're going on tour, and Joel, the bass player, can't come, so I need you to learn the bass part. Obviously, you can just listen to the mix and get it that way, or you could use Moises to separate things out. That gives you 2 things. First of all, I can hear what the bass part was in isolation, which helps me learn it better. Then I can mute the bass, and I can practice along to drums, guitars, and everything else. Let's see how this works. First, we select the audio that we want to separate stems from. Click Separate Stems, click Current Selection, and it gives me a list of what things do I want to separate. I would like to separate the vocals, the bass, the guitars. There's, I think, a synth in here and drums. You can go further, but this is good enough. We'll say other too in case there's something else in there I forgot is there. And I click Separate Stems. And check this out. So I'm going to mute the original, Shift M to kind of mute that audio. Now I've got the whole song here, so as the bass player, I can now just hear what the bass was doing. So like that little riff. If I'm playing bass and I'm listening to the whole mix, I can get a general gist of it, but why don't I just solo the bass so I can hear exactly what he played? Oh, that's what he played, right? It's clear, but now we know for certain. Same with the synth parts. The drums, if you just want to learn the drums. I mean, you can hear the fill that he plays there. Boom, doom, down, doom, back, doom. So you probably know what he played, because they're mixed pretty forward. But if you want to be real sure exactly which toms he hit when. Now you might say, Joe, you have the original tracks, just send those. Well, that's a big headache when I could just send him a Dropbox folder full of all the songs we're going to play on the tour, and then he can just pull and separate to his liking and listen to exactly what he wants. And it takes me almost 0 effort, and he can tune it exactly how he needs. Now, I know what you may be thinking, don't we have stem separation as a fairly recent feature in Studio Pro? Yes, we do. We also have multiple EQs, multiple compressors, because different tools for different jobs, so now you have multiple ways to go about it. Okay, how about stem generation? What's going on here? This is where we can take a guitar part that I've recorded and say, what else could go with this? What would it sound like with drums, with bass, maybe with other parts? We can explore that without playing a keyboard and without bringing another musician in. It's great for exploring creative ideas before we commit and hearing what's possible with our music. So here is an acoustic guitar part that I recorded recently. Kind of a pretty straightforward, kind of a folk song. So maybe the very first thing I think is, I think this could be cool with drums. Let's see what's possible. We open up Moises, we click Generate Stem. I've got the drum track selected, so I choose Current Selection. And then it gives me lots of options. So up here, first we select what kind of part that we want. So let's start with drums. And then we've got presets or custom. Custom lets me give it specific instructions. Presets lets it just kind of do its thing. Either AI match, where it just goes in and says, here's what I think is the best option for the song, or you can go genre specific. So I've played around with this, and I really like, for this song at least, a more of a country vibe. The tones are kind of what I was vibing for. It doesn't necessarily sound country, but it does sound kind of folk, which I like. So let's just see what happens when I choose country as my drum track. And all I do is hit generate stem. It creates a track, and it gets to work. And by the way, this transfer window opens up that tells you that it's generating something, but also you can see here, this is a progress bar that lets you know that it's working on it, and just give it a minute. Oh, as you can see, it jumped ahead really quickly. Okay, it's done. That worked a lot quicker than I thought. So now, I haven't heard this yet, but let's just see what happens. Let's play from the beginning. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you may think, okay, it just measured the tempo and threw a drum loop down. That would be a good first guess, but take a look at the waveform. You see how it's doing different things? It's actually following the guitar in a very musical way. So like, for example, there's a bit of a gap right here in the guitar part. Listen to what the drums do. The guitar did a bit of what we call a diamond, in like Nashville numbers, and the drums did it as well. Also this section, it drops out and goes to a really quiet section for this sort of what I call a down chorus. The drums follow. It knew, hey, that guitar got a lot quieter. It probably wants the drums to come out. Now, I could go in and try to be even more specific. I bet I could tell it to only come in on verse 2 or only come in at bar 26. But just by letting it do its thing, I can already see like, oh, this is what it would sound like with drums. That's really interesting. And if I said, you know what, I don't want drums till bar 26, great. Just mute out that first part. Now we don't have drums until then. Okay, so now I'd like a bass track. And I could do a bass track off of the acoustic guitar, but it's going to follow the acoustic. I really want it to listen to guitar and drums because I want it to really follow the kick pattern of the drums. Let's do this. Let's select both. I select the drums, I hold down Shift, I select the guitar. Now I come over here, generate stems, current selection, and you saw very quickly, it was quick, it generated a mix down of the two. That's what it's holding to listen to now as we make our choice. So if I'm going to choose bass, and then we're going to choose a different genre. For this song, this wouldn't be right for every song, but this upright acoustic sounds really interesting on this song. I'm going to go with that one. So I'm going to select that, choose generate stem. It creates the track, and then I just have to wait for a second, and I'll have a bass track. Okay, here it is. First things first, we got to change it to red. That's the color of bass. Let's see how it did. 2, 3, 4. I love that. I just got goosebumps. It's the first time I tried this, I told it to just listen to the guitar, which means it's like telling the bass player, sorry, you don't get to hear the drummer, just do your own thing. And he might guess right, but he might not. But now, check it, drums and bass are playing together like you would expect them to. It makes me think of like a Ray LaMontagne record, which is, I'm not mad about it. All right, what else could we do? We could add keyboard, we could add other things. Let's take all of these as our starting point. Let's select all of those by shift-clicking. Let's do one more round. Let's go keys. Warm, mellow, lo-fi, electric piano vibes. I like all of those words. All those words. Let's see what happens. It's following the chord progression. And not to belabor the point, but this is distinctly different from saying, hey, computer, make me a bunch of music. It's saying, hey, I already made some music, and I'd like you to accompany it and help me with ideas. To me, that's the power of technology supporting my musicianship versus something else. Okay, we've looked at separate stems, generate stems, but what about this convert voice? This one's the funnest of all. Check it out. This button here, let's take my vocal. So this is the first couple lines of this song we've been working on here.
Here I go again, let the fight begin.
Okay, fine. What if I wanted someone else to sing it? Or what if I don't like the tone of my own voice and I want to hear what it would be like for like a bass singer to sing it? Or I would like to create a harmony part and it not sound like me singing harmony with me, but someone else entirely. Check out this convert voice thing. It is wild. So I select the vocal, I hit convert voice, current selection, and then look at all the singers we have available to us. A whole bunch. Now let me find my favorite. I've connected with, I think his name's George. Where are you, George? There you are. So check it out. I can click on details, and it gives me a sample of the singer. They're all singing the same thing, so I can hear what they sound like first.
The years have changed us.
All right, yeah, I want to see how George sounds on my song. So I just hit use this model, convert voice.
Here I go again, let the fight begin.
What I love about this is it sings the way I sang it, even the imperfections, like the little bit of pitchiness of let the fight, like it's not quite there, and the end of the phrase goes off a little bit. We could super tune my voice and then generate it, but it actually sounds a lot like me, which I love. Hopefully this has given you a taste of what you can do with Moises integration inside of Studio Pro. Go check it out for yourself.